Shukran sana mtazamaji, ni siku nyingine njema na teule ambapo tunakutana hapa katika runinga unayoienzi ya Mwanzo TV, tayari kabisa kukuweza kukuhabarisha kuhusu yote yanayojiri Afrika Mashariki na duniani kote. Mimi naitwa Victor Wanaso na tumekuandalia mengi, ikiwemo mahojiano ambayo tutakuwa nazungumzia kuhusiana na zoezi la kuwapiga msasa mawaziri wateule ambao waliweza kuchaguliwa na Rais William Ruto, rais wa taifa la Kenya, na ni zoezi ambalo kwa sasa ripoti imeweza kuwasilishwa katika bunge la kitaifa na mjadala umeibuka mkali kuhusiana na ripoti hiyo. Kumbuka ni ripoti ambayo iliweza kumkataa Penina Malonza kama waziri wa utalii, japo upande wa upinzani pia uliweza kuzua maswala kuhusiana na mawaziri wawili wateule, wakiwa ni Aisha Jumwa naye Mintika Linturi, wakiwa ni mawaziri wa huduma za umma na kilimo mtawalia. Anza kusema nasi katika mitandao yetu ya kijamii, tukipatikana katika mtandao wa Facebook, Twitter na pia ule wa Instagram, tukipatikana kama @MwanzoTV. Na kumbuka taarifa hizi unaweza kuzipata kiukamilifu katika tovuti yetu ya www.mwanzotv.com. Tuanze mtazamaji, na tuanzie nchini Kenya. Hatma ya mawaziri watatu wateule waliotiliwa shaka na kamati ya bunge la kitaifa kuhusu uteuzi iko mikononi mwa wabunge 349. Hii ni baada ya wanachama 8 wa kamati hiyo kukataa kuidhinisha. Kamati hiyo ya uteuzi kwa kauli moja ilimkataa Penina Malonza kama waziri wa utalii, ila wabunge wa muungano wa Azimio wakataa pia Aisha Jumwa kama waziri wa utalii, naye Mintika Linturi kama waziri mteule wa kilimo.
Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Mining, the Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. 21, the Honorable Florence Chepngetich Kosgei Bore, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Labor and Social Protection, approves the appointment of the Honorable Justin Bertrand Muturi Njoka, AGH, as the Attorney General, approves the appointment of Ms. Mercy Kiiru Wanjau, CBS, as the Secretary to the Cabinet, and lastly, rejects the appointment of the Honorable Penina Malonza, OGW, as the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage.
First of all, he is seconding the report. Secondly, in a way, he is opposing the report. Can he come straight forward and tell us that now they have changed their mind, they want to withdraw the report or amend the report so they don't reject Malonza? Let's just come out. Stop beating around the bush, Honorable Bayer.
On the issue of Malonza, looking at her education background, her experience, and looking at the work that she has done for the many years that she has been in public service, I think she has done understanding work that prompted the president to say, this is somebody that we can work with in cabinet. This is somebody that can run a cabinet slot in this government. But during presentation, and as she presented herself, and many things happen when you face a barrage of cameras and very many people asking many questions. There are things that happen to people, and this happened to one Penina Malonza. But should we condemn Penina Malonza because of the 1.5 hours that she appeared before the committee?
Yes, there's a point of order. Is that Honorable Mbandi?
If we feel, like I'm sure many of us feel, that there is no way we are going to reject one member out of 24, we are going to approve them all. But you are the same people who have rejected. So don't give excuses. Don't look good. You have rejected that lady called Malonza. Please don't look good. Live with it, move the motion, second it properly, then leave it to us. Mr. Speaker, I find it completely out of order.
You've made your point.
I have an issue, especially with the rejection of Madam Malonza. Madam Speaker, if you look at, I've read the report, I've read the engagement between the committee and the nominee, Madam Speaker, and there's nowhere, first of all, where the committee puts a marking scheme, that this is what our marking scheme is about the competence of a nominee. Madam Speaker, I've gone through the report, and the report about Malonza is the same as the report about the other nominees, that the nominee answered questions well, the nominees seem to understand this. I don't find their recommendation, Madam Speaker, speaking to how they engage with the nominee. There's nowhere in that report, Madam Speaker, where the committee says in the report that the nominee could not answer this question or that. There's nowhere where in the report it says that the nominee answered this question wrongly. There's nowhere, Madam Speaker. And so the observation, in my opinion, does not emanate from the report. In fact, I dare say that the recommendation by the nominee on Madam Malonza is basically
Wabunge wa bunge la kitaifa wakijadili kuhusiana na ripoti ambayo iliweza kuwasilishwa bungeni hiyo jana. Ni ripoti ambayo iliweza kuwakatalia mbali baadhi ya mawaziri wateule wa Rais William Ruto, wakiwa ni Penina Malonza, waziri mteule wa utalii, ila upande wa upinzani nao ulikuwa umewakataa Aisha Jumwa na Minthika Linturi kwa misingi kwamba maadili yao yanakinzana na kupewa nafasi za uongozi katika taifa la umma, katika nafasi za umma katika taifa hilo. Na leo hii kunatarajiwa mjadala mkali hata zaidi, wakati ambapo wabunge wataendelea kujadili ripoti hiyo na baadaye kuweza kupigia kura kuhusiana na iwapo watakuwa wanakubaliana na ripoti hiyo au watakuwa wanakubaliana na ripoti hiyo jinsi ilivyo, ama watakuwa wanaipinga na kupendekeza ifanyiwe marekebisho. Mtazamaji, tukiachana na hayo sasa na kuelekea katika eneo la Kibra hapa jijini Nairobi, ni kuwa Rais William Ruto amefutilia mbali mpango maarufu wa kazi mtaani katika maeneo ya mijini kote nchini Kenya. Ruto ambaye ametoa amri hiyo alipozuru eneo la Kibra akizindua mpango wa nyumba kwa bei nafuu, amesema mpango huo kazi mtaani umepitwa na wakati na kwamba mpango mpya utabuni nafasi za ajira zaidi kwa vijana nchini Kenya. Kwa mara ya kwanza tangu kuchaguliwa kwake, Rais William Ruto amezuru eneo la Kibra ambalo linaaminika kuwa ngome ya mpinzani wake mkuu wa kisiasa Raila Odinga. Rais alifika hapa kwa ajili ya uzinduzi wa mpango maalum wa nyumba za nafuu, jinsi alivyoahidi wakati wa sherehe za mashujaa. Kiongozi huyo wa taifa la Kenya, hata hivyo, alitumia jukwaa hilo kupiga marufuku mpango maalum wa kazi mtaani, mradi ambao anasema umepitwa na wakati.
Mambo ya kazi mtaani ni mambo zamani. Ile kazi mtaani ya kuokota takataka na nini hapana, tuachane na hiyo. Sasa kazi itakuwa hii. Ninyi mnanielewa? Hiyo kazi sikizeni. Hiyo kazi ya mtaani. Hakuna kazi ya mtaani tena. Kazi ni hii ya kujenga manyumba hii.
Rais Ruto wakati huo amewahakikishia wenyeji wa Kibra na haswa vijana kuwa watapewa kipaumbele katika nafasi za ajira wakati wa mradi huo wa ujenzi wa nyumba hizo, na kusisitiza kuwa amezungumza na magavana kutoka kaunti zote 47 ili kufanikisha mradi sawia katika miji kote nchini Kenya.
Nimemwambia huyu muungwana, wale watu wa kwanza ambao wataajiriwa katika kazi hii ni watu wa hapa Lang'ata na watu wa Kibra, ndio watakuwa wa kwanza.
Rais ambaye amesema mradi huo utakamilika baada ya kipindi cha miaka 2, amedokeza kuwa nyumba hizo zitakuwa bora kuliko mpango wa kuboresha makazi duni ulianzishwa wakati wa serikali ya marehemu Mwai Kibaki.
Mbeleni tulikuwa na slum upgrading, lakini shida iliyokuwa na hiyo slum upgrading pale nyuma ilikuwa ni kwamba wale wanaishi pale wakiondoka wanaenda wakiendanga, hawarudi tena, kwa sababu watu wengine walikuwa wanatafutwa waje waishi kwa manyumba ile imejengwa, na wale ambao walikuwa wanaishi hapo wanapotea. Hii mpango mpya, vile mama wetu hapa Shiro amesema, wale mulikuwa mnaishi hapa, nyinyi ndio mtakuwa watu wa kwanza kurudi hapa, kwa sababu hapa ni nyumbani kwenu.
Mradi wa kazi mtaani ulianzishwa mwaka wa 2020 na mtangulizi wake Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kama njia ya kuwapa afueni ya kazi vijana nchini Kenya. Victor Wanaswa, Mwanzo TV. Nchini Kenya, na Wakenya watalazimika kusubiri kwa takriban mwaka mmoja kabla ya bei ya unga kupunguzwa. Hayo ni kwa mujibu wa Rais William Ruto ambaye amesisitiza kuwa kazi bado ingalipo katika juhudi za kushukisha gharama ya maisha nchini Kenya.
Lazima tupunguze gharama ya maisha. Si ni kweli? Na mimi niliwaambia ya kwamba lazima tuteremushe bei ya unga ikuje chini. Na hiyo safari ya kupunguza gharama ya unga na gharama ya maisha tayari nimeianzisha. Tayari tumepatia wakulima wetu mbolea magunia 1.5 milioni na tunawapatia ingine magunia 6 wazalishe chakula, ndio chakula ifike hapa ikiwa bei nafuu na bei ya unga tuanze kuiteremusha. Mimi nataka niwaambie hivi, wale walioharibu hii mambo ya unga mpaka ikafika shilingi 230 walikoroga hiyo mambo kwa miaka 4, si ndio? Si waliharibu kwa miaka 4? Munipatie tu mwaka moja peke yake nitakuwa nimenyorosha.
Na wakati huo huo, mtazamaji, baadhi ya viongozi wa muungano wa Azimio kwa maana ya upinzani nchini Kenya wameanza kusadiki na kumkubali William Ruto kama rais wa taifa hili la Kenya. Wa hivi punde kufanya hivyo amekuwa ni mwakilishi wa wanawake katika kaunti ya Nairobi, Esther Passaris.
Ruto, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, allow me to congratulate you for being the President of this great Republic of Kenya. You were not my presidential candidate, but now you are my President. When we met in Mukuru, you asked us as members of Parliament to be wary of what you want to do for the people of this great country of Kenya in terms of housing, to put dignity back into their lives. And you said you would be bringing a bill for the housing fund. We are waiting anxiously for it because we want our citizens to live with dignity. We want to eliminate slums in this great country of Kenya. Your Excellency, I recently read in the paper that Nairobi is going to have a population of 10 million by 2050. 10 million by 2050. For me, I feel we really need to also guard our population. There is no country that doesn't plan its population that can give wealth to its citizens. I really want to appeal to you, Your Excellency, to look into commodities for our women, to look into gender-based violence and give us more money. Nairobi, thanks to the governor, is going to have the first sexual gender-based safe house. We're ready to do the groundbreaking. We're just waiting for the CS. But having said all this, Your Excellency, I want to also recognize that the father of slum upgrading is none other than Raila Amolo Odinga. And for that, I want to say thank you, because a good leader takes every good project that is there.
Kutoka Nairobi, Kenya, hebu sasa mtazamaji ni kupeleke Uingereza. Na waziri mkuu mpya wa Uingereza Rishi Sunak ametoa hotuba yake ya kwanza baada yake kutakiwa na mfalme Charles wa III kubuni serikali yake. Sunak siku ya Jumanne aliahidi kuleta mabadiliko ya kiuchumi baada ya msukosuko ambao ulilazimisha mtangulizi wake Liz Truss kuondoka mamlakani.
Buckingham Palace and accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government in his name. It is only right to explain why I'm standing here as your new Prime Minister. Right now, our country is facing a profound economic crisis. I will always be grateful to Boris Johnson for his incredible achievements as Prime Minister, and I treasure his warmth and generosity of spirit. And I know he would agree that the mandate my party earned in 2019 is not the sole property of any one individual. It is a mandate that belongs to and unites all of us. I will deliver on its promise. A stronger NHS, better schools, safer streets, control of our borders, protecting our environment, supporting our armed forces, levelling up and building an economy that embraces the opportunities of Brexit, where businesses invest, innovate and create jobs.
Tuelekee Nigeria na kuangazia mafuriko ambayo yanaendelea kushuhudiwa katika taifa hilo, na misaada ya vyakula vimeanza kumiminika kwa wahisani ama kwa waasiriwa wa mafuriko kusini mwa Nigeria baada ya mojawapo ya mafuriko mabaya zaidi kuwahi kushuhudiwa katika taifa hilo ndani ya kipindi cha mwongo mmoja. Tayari takriban watu 600 wameuawa huku wengine milioni 3 wakiwachwa bila makao. Tazama mtazamaji.
Kikosi cha jeshi la wanamaji wa Nigeria wakivalia manguo rasmi ya kazi kabla ya kuanza operesheni ya kuokoa watu waliokwama katika eneo lililofurika. Wao ni miongoni mwa wahudumu wa dharura waliosambazwa kutoa msaada kwa watu walioathirika na mafuriko katika baadhi ya maeneo ya taifa hilo.
Nigeria Navy has 2 speed fiber boats, which you can see to my right, to render assistance to those stranded and evacuate them from those communities and to available Red Cross camps that are around Aoda West and East.
Vyakula vya msaada ndio mwanzo vimeanza kumiminika katika baadhi ya maeneo yaliyoathirika kusini mwa Nigeria. Zaidi ya watu 600 wameuawa huku wengine milioni 3 wakiachwa bila makao kufuatia mafuriko hayo. Wenyeji sasa wanahofia kuwa hali hiyo itasababisha uhaba wa vyakula kuwa mbaya hata zaidi.
My farm water don't trap my farm. Nothing there for my farm again. Even my house, everything. I don't have anything again.
Baadhi ya makazi yamefungiwa na mafuriko, wamiliki wakikosa jinsi ya kuondoka. Maafisa wa uokozi wanasema wameanza kusambaza tani 12,000 za vyakula kote nchini baada ya msaada huo kuidhinishwa na Rais Muhammadu Buhari.
I've seen that Bayelsa is one of the most worst affected states, and people have been calling like we should send them things. And I looked at it, and my wife and I consulted and decided to withdraw our savings, and we felt that we should do something for the people. We may not have every money, but the little we have been able to gather, we want to go and share with them.
Mshirikisho wa shirika la Umoja wa Mataifa nchini Nigeria alisema katika taarifa kwa vyombo vya habari wiki iliyopita kuwa mabadiliko ya tabia ya nchi ndiyo sababu kuu ya mafuriko hayo. Hata wataalamu nchini Nigeria wamelaumu ubovu wa mifereji ya kusambaza maji kwa kuchangia katika kufanya mafuriko hayo kuwa mabaya zaidi.
And it's now that time that we shift our gears and talk about politics, and specifically the vetting process that was conducted by the the Committee of National Assembly here in Kenya. And to assist us with that discussion is Kilion Amolo, our political analyst here in Kenya. Welcome to the program, Kilion.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure having you in our program. And to start off, out of the 24 nominees in Kenya for the CS positions, only one person was rejected by the committee of appointments. What do you make of that?
Yeah, only one person was rejected by the committee of appointments. And for me, I'm reading politics. I'm not saying that the rejection was justified. Because if you look at the reason that the committee gave when they were affronting the rejection, is that the lady does not have the requisite knowledge and understanding in the specific docket in which she was being nominated. And I justify that by saying that there are other nominees who are put in dockets where they don't even have any idea. We have people who are in defense and they have no knowledge of defense. We have people who are in security and they have no knowledge of security. They are lawyers and other professionals. So me, I read politics.
Integrity versus knowledge about the docket, because Penina Malonza has no any case integrity issues. Correct. It's only the reason that the committee gave about not having the requisite knowledge about the position.
Correct.
Which should, according to you, which should supersede the other?
Integrity actually comes in very handy, and it's sending a very bad message, a very bad message about our MPs. It's sending a very bad message about our president, in as far as his lack of commitment towards fighting craft is concerned. Because the starting point should be at the point of selection. If you are, we are told that garbage in, garbage out. If you begin a process by putting people who have credibility issues, it means that the entire process will lack credibility at some point. And even if you look at the kind of people who are put, or rather nominated by the president, during the campaigneering period, we were told that this is going to be a government of hustlers. We didn't see any hustlers in as far as the way they were declaring their net worth. We didn't see any hustler in the first place. And it's communicating a very bad message about the appointing authority in as far as tackling graft is concerned.
Let's talk about Minthika Linturi and also Aisha Juma. Minthika having about 35 pending cases in court.
Correct.
And Aisha Juma having murder case.
Correct.
Were they suitable for those dockets?
These people are not suitable for these dockets because they have been mentioned. The cases are still active. Some of them were withdrawn, I think, because of pressure from the executive to withdraw these cases so that they can be eligible to be cleared by the committee on appointments. So given that these cases are still active in courts, and we have 50 million Kenyans who are also equally qualified and can serve in those dockets. So we are having a situation in which people have to be cleared to go and be in that cabinet, no matter what their background is, no matter what cases are facing them. Because at the end of the day, some of these cases will be frustrated out, not because these people are clean, but because these people have to work, no matter what.
And then let's talk about the independence of institutions in Kenya. From where you sit, do you read any interference maybe from the executive when it comes to the approval of the 23 names?
Correct. There is a lot of, I'm reading a lot of malice from the executive. I'm reading a lot of interference from the executive because some of these cases, we are not naming names. We saw cases that were in court before August. And the court ruled in a specific way. Immediately, a president-elect is declared, and before he is even sworn in, courts have begun ruling otherwise. The same courts have begun ruling otherwise. So does it mean that the circumstances in which these rulings were given changed? Does it mean that if someone was guilty is now suddenly becomes innocent because someone is the new leader of this country? Does it mean that if, for example, my assets were frozen because they were procedurally taken from the government and a new government is in place, then we say that these assets were duly mine? You get that?
Yeah.
So it indicates and points directly to the fact that the executive is deciding cases in this country.
And then what next for the president after the approval of maybe, or rather, let's start with what is your expectations when the National Assembly, we are informed that they will be continuing today to debate about the report, and possibly what might be the outcome of that?
The outcome might still remain the way it is, because unfortunately the current National Assembly, like any others in the past, they work in the interest of the executive. Yeah. They always go and have some meetings before that, and they say that so you are going to say this, you are going to say this, at the end of the day, we are going to pass this motion. So I foresee a situation in which these names are going to be approved, unfortunately, because of pressure from the executive. You know, when the executive wants to have its way, it will always have it. By having, even influencing some MPs not to be in parliament today, so that the numbers that will approve this on the other side will be more than the numbers on this side. Yeah. So there is a likelihood that some names are going to be approved today, so as not to shame the executive. Yeah. But,
yeah. And then what next for the president after the approval of the 23 names?
If I were the president, I would send a signal to this country that I'm committed towards the tackling graft. And they say that do as I do and not as I say. So speaking about fighting graft is one thing, but doing it is another. So he should demonstrate his commitment towards fighting graft by rejecting those names that have been fronted to be having integrity issues. Yeah. Because even if these people are his friends, he has other friends who can equally deliver and whose names have not been tainted with corruption. So that is what I expect the president to do. We were told by the previous president that this country loses 2 billion shillings daily to corruption. And I did my rough mathematics, and I found out that this translates to 730 billion annually. And over an entire presidential term, this is 3.65 trillion, which is the size of our economy. We have an annual budget of around the same amount. That means that every 5 years, we go back 1 year because of corruption. Every 5 years, we make steps 1 step backwards. Every 5 steps forward, 1 step backward because of corruption. So the president needs to act decisively and show that he's holding the bull by his horns and take his people down to task, because he looks like someone who is in charge, someone who is family in charge, someone who is hands-on. So he needs to sit down with these people and tell them that, please, this is what we are going to do. We want to ensure that the common mwananchi on the ground gets what is due to them, and we want to ensure that the economic resources are not plundered for your own personal interests. We want to see the president acting and taking firm authority like that.
The minority in the committee and in the National Assembly, Azimio, that is, rejected Aisha Jumwa and Minthika Linturi on grounds of integrity issues.
Yes.
But it seems the majority will have their way.
Yes.
Is there something that minority can do to, when it comes to the two names they rejected?
Maybe to take them to court, maybe to go and sue them and have these cases active, because as it is now, you know, what has been decided in Parliament has got parliamentary privilege. Whatever Parliament decides today, the President will have to do what? To act. And if he's not acting, he will take it back to Parliament and say that I've not acted because of A, B, C, and D. Yeah. So what the Azimio coalition can do is number one, maybe to initiate some private prosecution against some individuals who have been mentioned. If they have evidence that this person has done A, B, C, D, and these cases are being dropped, they can initiate those cases and have them active in courts. And then if these people are found to be guilty, they will have no option but to step aside.
And then you mentioned that Kenya, and it's on public knowledge that Kenya has been losing a lot of money on corruption.
Correct.
But the president went ahead and nominated some of the people who are corrupt.
Correct.
What does that talk about the president?
It says that we have a president who is not keen on fighting corruption. We have a president who is very keen, let the truth be told, to perpetrate corruption through his cronies. You know, we have had cases whereby in the past, when someone, even today, not in the past, if someone gets a job in the civil service, it's like you are turned to go and eat there. And these people don't eat alone. They eat as a team, they eat as a team. And so the message that the president is sending to the entire country, and by extension the international community, is that he's not committed towards fighting graft. He's not going to fight it, and that is why we have people whose names have been tainted, being affronted, some of them being offered very serious dockets that require people to not to have been tainted with the corruption. Yeah.
Now today, the National Assembly will be discussing the report, and then from the onset of the process, what can you say about the vetting process? Was it vetting as per se, or it was just a conveyor belt to rubber stamp what the president had appointed?
I wouldn't say there was a vetting in the first place, because even this rejection of is she called Malonza?
Malonza.
Her rejection, I would say, is a reaction of the other side are reacting because the Azimio side were rejecting the other two nominees. So maybe they were responding to that or reacting to that. You know, if people cannot agree on a boardroom, you go public and say that this is what has happened. Like the other side, when people were doing elections in the day the results were declared, we saw some dissenting commissioners. And probably what happened is that they disagreed privately, and they could not agree. And so that is why some of them went what? Public. Yeah. So the same thing could have happened during the committee's the committee stage, the committee on appointments. Yeah. They must have disagreed, because if you are saying that someone does not demonstrate knowledge and understanding on matters tourism, let's pick the MPs who were in that committee. Which one of them have got the requisite knowledge and understanding of tourism to warrant them to evaluate the nominee to know that this one does not have those skills? Because I cannot say that you don't have some skills if I don't have them myself. Yeah. I must be having them above your level of understanding to know that you do not have these skills. So what we are seeing is simply an extension of politics.
And when it comes to Penina Malonza, we saw the Kenya Kwanza had the numbers. So if at all they wanted to approve Penina, they had the numbers. But now some of the members from the same side are now complaining that why Malonza was not approved, and why her only among the list of 24 nominees. Do you think there was a goodwill among the Kenya Kwanza first?
Yes, I would say there was no goodwill, because you know where Malonza comes from. I think a day also before that, the vice president was quoted as saying that there is a particular community that has really benefited, and yet they did not contribute that much. So maybe this is a pressure coming from the executive. They already have somebody in mind who comes from another community that they want to benefit. So the best way in which we can reject this person is by saying that, look, you don't have the what? The skills.
The skills.
Yeah. The vice president was quoted as saying that this particular community, we have given you so many slots, but you didn't give us the requisite support that we wanted.
Now, for the sake of our viewers, maybe who are viewing, who are watching this show from maybe Uganda, Tanzania, because we are covering East Africa.
Sure.
Can you take us through the process, maybe after the vetting process? How did the committee arrive at the decision of maybe approving the 23 names and disapproving one?
Arriving at a decision to approve or disapprove is based on numbers. It's based on the majority. And that is why after it has been approved, the dissenting minority are allowed to air their views and say that yes, we have not agreed. You're right? So it's based on majority, it's based on the numbers. If the Azimio side would have prevailed, then it would have been said that the committee has rejected the nominees. Yeah, so when these people are going through the vetting process, they are asking questions, trying to establish facts in quotes, because if they were establishing facts and making their decision based on these facts, then most of those nominees would have been rejected. But unfortunately, they were working using their numbers, their parliamentary strength. I am here as an Azimio coalition member. I am here as a Kenya Kwanza coalition member. So I am furthering the interest of my political party that nominated me to parliament. So that it was based on that the decision was arrived at.
After the committee presented the report recommending that the president maybe appoint the 23 and not to appoint one who is Malonza, does the president have a leeway of going against the report and maybe appointing all the 24? And what might be the implications of that?
The president, like for the case of Malonza, the president cannot appoint her, because it states that appointed by the president subject to approval and vetting by parliament. So if you have been rejected by parliament, you are simply telling the president to bring in another nominee, right? But the other people with integrity issues, unfortunately, these ones will be appointed because the majority have spoken in their favor.
So what are we going to see in terms of will the president appoint the 23 and then initiate another process of filling the one?
Correct. The president will appoint the 23 and then nominate another person, and this person is taken through the vetting process by parliament.
Okay.
That is what is going to happen. Because the lady, unfortunately, will not be appointed because she's not been approved by parliament. That is what the law says.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and for helping us dissect this process of vetting in Kenya.
Thank you.
Naam, huyo amekuwa ni mchanganuzi wa masuala ya kisiasa kutokea Nairobi, Kenya, akifahamika kama Kilion Amolo, ambaye amekuwa akitusaidia tu kufafanua na kupambanua kuhusiana na swala zima. Je, ni mchakato ambao uliweza kufuatwa kufanywa kisheria na umeweza kamati hiyo imeweza kuwafikia malengo yake, ama kuliweza kuwa na mwingiliano kutoka sehemu mbalimbali ili kuweza kuwaelekeza kwamba waweze kuwaidhinisha baadhi na kuweza kutoidhinisha baadhi yao? Kumbuka takriban wateule ama mawaziri wateule 23 wameweza kuidhinishwa, huku mmoja akiweza kutoidhinishwa, na huyo ni Penina Malonza ambaye alikuwa ameteuliwa kuwa waziri wa utalii. Na tutaendelea kufuatilia kikao cha bunge leo hii. Wabunge watakuwa wanajadiliana kuhusiana na ripoti hiyo, na baadaye tutajua iwapo ripoti hiyo itasalia kuwa hivyo ama itafanyiwa marekebisho. Hivyo basi, kutoka kwangu Victor Wanaswa kutoka Nairobi, Kenya, sina la ziada ila kutamatisha makala haya ya mwanzo kwa siku hii ya leo.